Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing 5 tips that I hope can help you with your next indoor natural light portrait shoot. And all of the footage you're seeing comes from my own indoor natural light photo shoot I did recently here in my home of Seoul, Korea. I want to say thank you to my model Bella and Howl Studio for helping bring everything to life on this one. And without any further ado, let's get into it. Tip number 1 is scout your location. These days, whether we are using a studio, Airbnb, or whatever else it may be, we can usually find photos of the place to check it out beforehand online. And even though these are great references, the problem with relying solely on these images to prepare for our shoots is that they may not be fully accurate for our intents and purposes. And what I mean by this is, we have no idea at what time of day the pictures being shared were taken, or if artificial light sources were being used to help light the spaces. Basically, it's hard to be sure that what we're seeing online is what we will be seeing in person when we actually arrive. I know this was the case for myself on this shoot. I remember the photos I saw online being rather bright, but it wasn't until about the last hour of our shoot that the sun was facing the direction of the windows and everything was as bright as what I had seen online. If I had scouted the studio in advance though, I would have known this, and then I could have prepared accordingly and booked our session for later in the day when the light was more appropriate for our purposes. So yeah, tip number 1, scout your location beforehand whenever possible. Tip number 2 is test your lighting. This one is pretty straightforward, but before even clicking the shutter, I would take the time to walk around the space with your model and just see how the light is looking on them from all different angles and from all different corners of the room. And remember, since we're using natural light, our way to control the light is just to be able to move our model and our angle of the camera, not the actual light source itself. So if we do this way, we'll get a good idea of the setups we want to try and the ones we can just omit, helping save time and also helping take the pressure off of figuring this out in the moment while we're actually shooting. Next on the list is design your set. Studios usually do a pretty good job of arranging things and making them look visually interesting. However, if the studio allows and you see something that you think might look better by moving or rearranging something, then go for it. Experiment and find what works for you. For example, on this shoot, before Bella even arrived, I removed some of the pillows and blankets and decorative props away from the bed and couch because I didn't like the extra hits of color that they brought into the frame. I just found them to be really distracting. I was also resetting the footrest for the couch throughout the duration of the shoot, putting it to the left or in the front or to the right, and just seeing where it looked better depending on the shot. And thinking about it now, I probably could have moved the whole couch to different angles as well and kind of tested to see what that looked like. But yeah, the point is, don't be afraid to move things around and create the space that you want to look at in your frames, because in the end, it's your shoot. But just always remember to put things back before you leave. And pro tip, take a photo on your phone of how everything looks right when you get there. It'll really help make things a lot easier when you need to put things back at the end and save a lot of time. Just trust me on this one. Building off tip number 3, tip number 4 is prep your set for 360-degree shooting. What I mean by this is, when you're designing your set, wherever you end up moving things, if they aren't going to be used in the shot, try to get them completely out of the scene from all possible angles. Whether that means hiding them under some furniture, using the dressing room to store things if they have one, or whatever creative way you can think of to hide things, just get them out of the way. For example, when I was rearranging the blankets and pillows I mentioned earlier, I placed them on the opposite side we were facing on a table, quote unquote, behind us. The problem came later as the light shifted and I was shooting from a new angle. The blankets and pillows were now leaking in the edges of the frame, so I had to stop, go move them, readjust, and this just continued on because the more I kept shifting, the more new things were being introduced into the image, like our bags, tissue boxes, other random props that they had for use. It just really ended up breaking up the flow of things, having to go and retinker, and it was just incredibly distracting. But all of this could have been avoided if in the beginning I put everything completely out of sight, like I said, and opened up that 360-degree shooting. And even if you don't end up using every possible angle, doing this will just help free up your mind so you don't have to worry about the possibility of these impediments along the way. And my last tip for shooting indoor natural light portraits is do it again. It's very rare that everything goes right on a shoot. Many of the tips I'm sharing in this video were things that went wrong on the shoot and that I learned afterwards. That's a big reason why I wanted to make this video actually, was to share these things with you so hopefully you won't make the same mistakes that I did. But knowing these things now and having learned, I'm really excited to go back to the same studio and do it all over again and apply what I've learned. And I think that's one of the great things about this style of photography is it's never one and done, or I should say it's usually not one and done. I don't know your particular circumstances, but we get essentially as many chances as we want at this thing, especially if we're just doing these things for fun, collaboratively, just like this shoot was. We can keep going until we get it quote unquote right in our mind. And having this mindset, at least for me, helps take a lot of the pressure off any singular shoot, and ultimately makes things much less stressful and more fun. And that's always going to be a winning combination to me. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you found the information to be helpful. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel, and I will catch you in the next one.